Welcome back to the History of Early Western Civilization. This is Lecture 3 continued. This video is going to only be a few minutes long, not very long at all, but I wanted it separate from the Egyptians and Kassites. So, again, we were talking about Bronze Age civilizations, and we are moving up from Egypt and Sumeria, or Mesopotamia, and the Fertile Crescent, which we've been talking about the past couple days and past couple lectures, and including this one, all the way up to here in England. Modern-day England is right here, okay, which is separated by water from the rest of Europe. Right here. We're going to be talking about it right here, okay? And so, Stonehenge. It was created in southwest England, and the construction of Stonehenge, which again, you may have seen these stones in many pictures before. Some of you may have even visited there, if you've been to Europe. And to construct these stones and to make these stones get the way they are, as well as smaller ones that used to be there well beforehand, it took 1,500 years to do that. Okay? The reasons for it are even unknown today. Okay? It may have been a burial site, but we don't think it was just a burial site. Because even though there are bodily remains, as in like buried bodies under it and around the area, they date to around 3000 BCE, which is much earlier than the rest of the structure itself. There aren't any like ones more closer to when the stones were put there. Okay? So we don't think it has to do with a burial site, although they may have been worshipping the people there or something like that. It likely did have, but however, both religious and calendar significance. Why both? Well, we know that it is Stonehenge is built on this ancient road. Okay, they used to have roads just like we did. Now, they weren't usually stone, they were usually dirt, and just worn down just by people traveling on them all the time kind of thing. And this one was an ancient road that used to align with the summer solstice's sunrise and the winter solstice's sunset. You may have heard the summer solstice is the first day of summer, just like the first day of winter is the winter solstice. Okay, and the sun during that period is always setting at a specific area of the sky. It always takes a certain amount of time, almost like clockwork, you can tell, as opposed to other times where sometimes it takes longer or so to it. But the sunset and sunrise of those times aligns always on the same day because it's always where the Earth is in relative to the sun, okay? And so this road is along that same line where the sun would have been coming up. So if you were walking along it and you were walking right at dark, or right in the end of dark, and the sunrise is about to come up on the first day of summer, it's going to be coming up right in front of you, or right behind you. And then same with the sunset for the solstice, right behind you or right in front of you, depending on which way you were traveling. Okay? There is a heel stone right here, outside of the main area, quite a little while away from the area. Like, here's the main area, and it would have been like maybe 200, 300 feet away from it. I've actually been to Stonehenge once in my life, and these actual pictures are pictures from me. And so this is very interesting that this heel stone aligns with the sunrise at the solstice, and the rest is kind of right near it, but not exactly on the line, which is kind of interesting. It was not built by the Celts, not Celts, Celts, okay, or the Druids. Neither built it. Both of those are commonly thought as the builders of Stonehenge, but that is not true, especially the Druids. A lot of people say Druids built Stonehenge. Not true at all. Both of them came much later. Now, both of them were to live around Stonehenge and maybe went to it quite often, but they did not build it, nor did they build any of the versions of it. Okay? Originally, Stonehenge wasn't stone, okay? And around the year 3000 BCE, circa 3000 BCE, so about 5,000 years ago, when it was first made, okay, when those bodies were buried, it was only a bunch of wooden posts in the same areas that these rocks are. Now, they wouldn't have been over the tops, okay, but it would just have been wooden posts in a circle, okay? And this ditch, which you can see here in this picture I took, was also built in this big round circle around the area. We don't know why, okay? It was built like that. Again, we're trying to figure it out still. By around 500 years later, so circa 2500 BCE, again, 500 years later, the wooden posts had been replaced by large standing stones about 13 feet high. Now, that's not these ones. The ones that replaced the wooden posts were half as big as this. Okay? Those stones weighed 20 tons apiece, and they had been dragged or drug 180 miles to that position, because those stones, that rock, did not come from this part of England, okay? People know where certain rocks come from. Didn't come from there. The stones that were in place before these ones were drug 180 miles. And how did you get that there? Because they didn't have cars or trucks, right? You couldn't fly them or anything like that. You had to put them on a big sled, like a snow sled, and push it. They pushed it 180 miles. So it was very significant for place. We're still not exactly sure why, other than the solstice aligning. And maybe they worshipped with the solstice. And so that's why, back to here, a religious and calendar significance, okay? Religious and calendar, because maybe they worshipped the solstices, and they probably did, in some sort. Well, eventually, about a few hundred years later, a larger circle of stones was built around the first. So these 13-ton ones are around inside here, and these big ones were placed afterwards. Okay? You can see how big people are kind of next to them. These are big. They're 24 feet high, some of these stones. Okay? And each weighs 35 tons. Okay? The amount of about 35 cars in weight, almost. Or at least about 20 cars in weight, depending on the car. And each of them are 24 feet high. And then they also have lintels, which are these topping pieces here. You know, those sideways pieces? And that's what the lintel is called. A lintel is this stone right here that kind of bridges between the two others, or the lintels. So that is Stonehenge. It's very interesting, very large. Here's some pictures from further away and different angles that I took while I was there. This is an artistic picture, which is what it is believed to have looked like originally, with the really big one in the middle and a couple other big ones right near it. Smaller ones inside, which might have been the wooden posts, other holes and rocks around the edge, and then off to the side would have been that heel stone, which was way off to the edge. Interestingly, there are also some big giant hills that were man-made, which have bodies inside them off on the edges. You can't really see them here, but they would have been huge. I didn't take a picture of them because they didn't come out because of the rain. It started raining when I was there. So you can kind of see the rain clouds. But yeah, so that is Stonehenge. A student a couple semesters ago asked me to teach them all about it, and so I added it to the lecture. And that's why I asked you on the first quiz to tell me what you want to learn in this class. And so if any of you think of something else that you might want to learn in this course, please, by all means, send me a message or comment here on YouTube or something like that, and hopefully I'll see it. And I will try to put a bit of a lecture together for you on that subject, if it has to do with this course, okay? Next time, we're going to shift back down from England, where Stonehenge was, over to here, right here. The Mediterranean Sea. Okay, well, this whole area is the Mediterranean, but we're going to be talking about that area right here, specifically the island of Crete, which is right here. Egypt is here. The Hittites were here with Asia Minor, okay, and Euphrates, and so this was what? Mesopotamia, right? So we're going to be talking about that island right here, the island of Crete, and the city of Knossos, and we're going to be talking about also early Greece and some of the early Greek people, which had a different name, all in the next video, okay, on lecture number 4.